Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Tennessee back out on the practice field today. Had a 4-day break for the Easter holiday. Back at it this morning. They're also going to be practicing on Wednesday. Then the second scrimmage of spring camp will take place on Thursday night inside Neyland Stadium. Man, it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe we are less than 2 weeks away from the orange and white game. We'll be hanging out. We're going to be tailgating G10 Parking Garage. Come hang out with the Talkin VAWLS Network. Should be a good time. The only downside of that would be if it rains. If it rains, I'm not driving to Knoxville to watch the spring game on a TV screen. But hopefully we got good weather. Hopefully we can gather together, hang out, get to know each other, and continue to grow this community, man. That's what the Talkin VAWLS Network is all about. But not only is Tennessee back out on the practice field, that means visits are kicking back up into high gear. Had a 5-star prospect on campus this weekend. Got another big-time prospect that I want to talk about in this video that's going to be visiting next weekend. You know, because we talk a lot about the wide receiver position. If you look at what Tennessee is trying to do in the class of 25, they've already got Joakim Dotson committed, 3-star wide receiver, in-state prospect, also got recently offered by Georgia, so his stock is on the rise. I think you got a couple of good in-state prospects in Cam Sparks, also Redarius Jackson, a couple of 4-star wide receivers, again, in-state prospects, and I think Tennessee wants to lock down the state by adding Cam Sparks, by adding Redarius Jackson, who will also be in Knoxville next weekend. But also they're looking to add an out-of-state elite type talent. We've talked about this in the previous weeks. Maybe a guy like Khalil Lockett. He's a 5-star wide receiver. I think Texas probably leading the way there, probably a long shot. But Jamie French is a guy that's got a great relationship with George McIntyre, 5-star wide receiver out of Florida. But then there's another guy that we want to talk about, and that is Caleb Cunningham. He's in town right now. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about his recruitment. We're going to take a look at another prospect that Tennessee is looking to add out of state. But as always, do me a favor, guys, and smash the thumbs up just below this video. It's quick, free, easy, helps the channel. I would appreciate it. Also, if you're new to the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. We're not experts here. We're not insiders. We're not media. We don't pretend to be any of that. This channel is for the fans, by the fans. If you like what we do, make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You're not going to miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. Going to be live tomorrow night. I'm live every Tuesday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. We play some NCAA football, but we also talk all things Tennessee football. Also, Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time, Talkin VAWLS Live. We're going to be talking about spring practice, gearing up for scrimmage number 2, and then we're going to do a fan call-in show on Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time, so make sure you tune in for that. Let's talk about Caleb Cunningham, 5-star wide receiver out of Mississippi. You can see there on the screen, top 20 player overall, top 3 wide receiver, number 1 player out of the state of Mississippi. And I think that's something you've got to keep an eye on because he is a Mississippi kid. You can see there they've got Mississippi State way up at the top. Ole Miss definitely in this as well. But he visited Tennessee during the Georgia game last year. Coming out of that visit, he was really high on the Vols. Talked about how much he loved the Vols. The quote at the time, "This is one of my top visits. I love Tennessee. It's a good vibe down here. I'll be back during the spring game for sure. They're going to be at top of my list, and I love Tennessee. It's a good vibe. Got a good relationship with the coaches, so I decided to come check them out. I heard it was a good atmosphere, and I had to experience it. It was loud. Couldn't even hear them trying to talk to me. I was like, just tell me after the game." It was very loud. So love that visit to Tennessee. And what Caleb Cunningham wants to do, and the prospect I'm going to talk about next, what both of them want to do is they want to come on campus for these visits, and they want to see what this Tennessee offense is all about. How do they fit in to this Josh Heupel offense? And again, Caleb Cunningham on campus right now. Going to take a look at some of his highlights. Let you guys get a look at these as we kind of roll through the scouting report here. This is from Gabe Brooks over at 247 Sports. Says unverified size and athleticism, but clearly possesses physical traits and excellent functional athleticism on tape. No less about him than most other wideouts in the class, but definitely aware that he's a dynamic basketball player with big production on the hardwood. Translates that body control and bounce to ball-winning mismatch effectiveness at wideout. Said he's unstoppable in red zone situations, strong-handed in traffic, runs hard in run-after-the-catch situations, and bowls his way through arm tackles. Long striding gait that creates a necessity for build-up speed, natural route runner, sense and spatial awareness. Question the top-end athlete from speed and lateral perspectives relative to others in the class, so athletic profile is admittedly excellent with the hoops context. Says here he projects as a high major impact player with a long-term ceiling that could lead to NFL draft consideration. Now, there's 3 crystal balls. If you roll over to 247 Sports, Two of those predictions are going to Mississippi State. Now, you got to keep in mind, those were put in back in December. One recently was put into Ole Miss by David Johnson at Ole Miss Insider. I did see a report from Steve Wiltfong, now of On3.com. How crazy is that? Steve Wiltfong makes the jump. On3 now has Chad Simmons and Steve Wiltfong working side by side. But a couple of hours ago, he said Lane Kiffin and company look for that help to continue building momentum with the state's number one prospect in five-star wide receiver Caleb Cunningham, who was at Auburn over the weekend. The recruitment will be a marathon, but the Rebels are running the race as well as any program. So it's going to be tough. You know, Chad Simmons has talked about it in the past. He likes Tennessee. He likes the George commitment. Getting George McIntyre in the boat kind of opens things up for a guy like Caleb Cunningham, but it's going to be hard to get him out of the state. But again, it's a long process, getting these guys on campus for the spring, getting them scheduled for official visits, and then closing. You got to be able to close. But I think at the wide receiver position, there's a ton of talent out there. We've talked about how deep this recruiting board is. There's so much talent out there. And what wide receiver wouldn't want to play in this offense? And I think as we continue to see this offense evolve and grow and what it's truly supposed to be when you've got elite quarterback play, I think Velus Jones was onto something when he said what wide receiver wouldn't want to play in this offense. So that's Caleb Cunningham, five-star wide receiver in town right now, taking in spring practice earlier this morning. Another guy that's going to be in town next weekend. He's another out-of-state prospect that Tennessee wants to try to go out and get, and that is Travis Smith, four-star wide receiver out of Georgia. Top 100 prospect, 11th ranked wide receiver in the class according to the On3 industry rankings. Again, will be here this upcoming weekend. Scouting report on him. This is also from 247 Sports. Prototypical outside wide receiver build, measuring 6'4", 200 on multiple occasions, with plus wingspan, has proven to be a matchup nightmare on the outside on Friday nights. In combine settings against top-tier defensive backs, as he can climb the ladder in contested catch scenarios and separate from quicker defensive backs, but has a knack for separating late while tracking the ball in the air. Goes on to say crafty route runner at all three levels who can sink his hips with ease and use subtle head and body movements to cause defenders to guess incorrectly. At this stage of the evaluation process, Smith profiles as one of the higher floor wideouts in the country and one of the better pass catchers from the Deep South. Has a chance to contribute immediately at the Power 4 level, but must continue to work on separating earlier in his routes to realize long-term draft upside. So, you look at a guy like Travis Smith compared to a guy like Caleb Cunningham or to a guy like Jamie French, and we as fans see the stars, right? We see, we clearly want Caleb Cunningham. We clearly want Jamie French. We want the 5 stars. We want to recruit like Butch Jones. We want to pretend it's a Tuesday night and we're playing NCAA and we're just offering all the 5 stars because we're stargazers. But you've got to trust the evaluation process of this coaching staff. And I know people probably get sick of hearing that, but look at Braylon Staley. Braylon Staley is a guy that is balling out 2 weeks into spring camp as a true freshman. That is not the norm. That is not the norm. You got to trust the evaluation process. So Travis Smith is scheduled to be here for an unofficial visit next weekend. Also going to take officials over the summer. He'll be at Georgia at the end of May, Auburn June 7th through the 9th, Alabama June 14th through the 16th, and then also Tennessee June the 21st through the 23rd. Now, I was reading an update from Tom Loy over at 247 Sports, and Travis Smith said those teams are it. That's it. The 4 visits, the 4 official visits that I'm going to take over the summer, that's it. That's the teams that I'm focusing on. Again, Georgia, Auburn, Alabama, and Tennessee. Plans to take his spring visits, as he's going to be doing next weekend. Then he's going to take those officials over the summer, and then he's going to lock down a decision shortly after those visits. So you talk recruiting, and you could talk pros and cons. Tennessee's got that last visit, right? And you go back to Caleb Cunningham coming off the Georgia visit. That kid loved him some Tennessee. It means something to get that last visit. Can Tennessee do enough at the end of June to get Travis Smith in the boat? Said Tennessee and Georgia both definitely recruiting him the hardest. What he had to say about Tennessee: likes the continuous communication with the Vols. He also says Tennessee, the offense is easy to groove into. They've got a great staff. I love those guys. That's Travis Smith, 4-star wide receiver that will be here next weekend. What do you guys think at the wide receiver position? Does Tennessee need, we talk about balancing out NIL. Everybody says throw the bag at the 5 stars, throw the bag at this guy. I say it all the time. You got to have a quarterback, you got to have a guy to protect the quarterback, and you got to have a guy to get after the quarterback. Can Tennessee, can Josh Heupel, can they have success with wide receivers that just not necessarily elite, but efficient? Do they just need efficient? Now, Josh Heupel would tell you no, that's wrong. We want elite prospects. We want to play elite defense. We want elite wide receivers. But when you're looking at the in-state kids, not statistically, but ranking-wise, a little bit lower down when you look at Cam Sparks, 4-star out of Chattanooga. Rodarius Jackson, even though his stock is going up, 4-star out of Memphis. And then also you got Joakim Dotson, 3-star prospect, already committed in the class of 25. But what do you guys think? Jump into the comment section. Let's talk about this wide receiver room. Let's talk about recruiting. How much can an actual true wide receiver rotation help? Some of these guys that I've been tracking want playing time. They want an opportunity to come in and compete early. That's something that Caleb Cunningham said coming out of his Auburn visit. I want a chance for early playing time. Do you have that option at Tennessee, or do they need to show that we're going to rotate guys? We're going to play more guys out there at the wide receiver position. Smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. Jump into the comment section. Let's talk a little recruiting. Let's talk a little spring practice, whatever you guys want to get into. Shout out to all the members of the channel. If you're not a member, think about hitting that join button down below. We would appreciate the support. It's just $1 a month, but if not, thumbs up. It's quick, free, and easy. Jump into the comment section. Let's talk about it, because this is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.